Well, hello and welcome to this week's edition of On Deck with Avoya, your weekly travel update. I'm your host, Chris Green, Director of Network Expansion for Avoya Travel. Thank you so much for your time today. You've picked a great week to tune in. I think that every week, but today is very special. We've got a great show lined up today. Here we are, the 2nd of February, and we have some amazing news and results to share with you about the Avoya Network and Avoya Travel and sales from January of this year, 2023. It is so special that we're switching up our normal format and we're focusing our whole eye on the industry feature on Avoya Travel and the sales to start 2023. We're going to welcome in Steve Hirshan, Senior Vice President of Sales for Avoya Travel, here in just a second to share that exciting news and give these record-breaking sales numbers some context. Steve will be on in just a moment. And with Steve joining us, that means we have 2 live guests today for On Deck with Avoya, because right after we wrap up with Steve, we're so excited to welcome David Ridge, Regional Director of Sales for the Western region with Sandals Resort. And David is joining us from their beautiful location in Turks and Caicos at the Beaches Resort there. Some of the best from Avoya Network are there enjoying a reward trip for their outstanding sales in 2022. And we just look forward to having David on as our first Meet the Industry guest for 2023. Avoya Travel has an outstanding partnership with our friends at Sandals Resort, and we can't wait to welcome David to the show to find out more about David personally, as well as get the latest updates on this iconic brand, and hopefully a few pointers on how you can sell more sandals and increase your bottom line. We look forward to having that happen here in just a couple of moments. Well, wow. What a show, right? I mean, like we do every week, but we're going to wrap up our show with some calls to action, with details on our latest promotions, our travel agent education powered by Avoya platform, the resources that help our network sell at such an amazingly high level, and of course, with the deepest partnerships with all of the important leisure brands. And of course, make sure you have all the ways to stay in touch and reach out to start the journey with the #1 host agency in leisure travel, Avoya Travel. So let's kick it off, this week's edition of On Deck with Avoya. And I've been pounding the drum pretty hard because the measurement of a strength of any business or network really comes down to results. We like to say the numbers don't lie. Well, the results for January 2023 are in, and they are absolutely amazing. Joining us live from the Avoya Travel Innovation Center is Steve Hirshan, Senior Vice President of Sales for Avoya Travel. Steve, we appreciate you jumping back on and joining us again and coming back on the show to share this exciting news. And again, like I said, give it some context.
Well, I should be a co-host by now. This is my 2nd time since the start of the year, so I'm looking for some co-billing here, Chris.
You are my David Brenner, right?
Right. At least you didn't say Arthur Treacher, but
right,
I'm not sure how many will get that on the call.
I'm not sure anybody can get the David Brenner one either, but at least we understand.
That's all that matters, right?
Steve, I guess with my big buildup, the first thing is, how did we do sales-wise in January?
Yeah, so I think January was the last dagger in the heart of COVID in terms of sales returning to not just normal, but returning to where we all thought the industry was going back in early 2020. We completely blew away our record month in January. And Chris, we couldn't do it without, #1, the support of great suppliers like David and Sandals, who will be on later. And of course, our fantastic agency network who do all the sales for Avoya. Avoya doesn't do any selling directly to consumers. They are our sales force, and they do a tremendous job. The average sales in the network are higher than any place else in the industry, and we're really proud of that.
Absolutely. And speaking of the Avoya network, I mean, just what are some of your thoughts, Steve, on the performance overall of the Avoya network from January?
So what was the most impressive thing to me is looking at agencies that just started last year and their performance. Already a significant amount of business is coming from people who just started sometime between January 1st and December 31st last year. And if that wasn't, impressive enough, the sales from agencies that you and your team have brought on in January are astounding, that people are hitting the ground running that quickly, making sales and making money.
That's a fantastic little nugget to share. When you dive a little bit deeper into the numbers, Steve, if you've had a chance, or you and some of the various teams that you and meetings that you sit on, have you noticed any early trends that you might be able to share?
Absolutely. I would say the biggest trend is that the average ticket price for a booking is up significantly. And we've seen that over the last couple of months, maybe even the last half year. And what we firmly believe is people who saved all that travel money for 2 years during COVID when they couldn't go anywhere, they're not going back to their normal travel expenditure. They're going and either doubling up their expenditure for one trip or taking more trips than they normally do. I think, and what I've heard from other studies is that people learned during COVID that experience is more important than material items. When they got shut out of the chance to be with people, whether to go out to dinner, travel to visit family, or go on vacation, they realized, you know what? These are really the more important things in life than one more flat screen TV.
Yeah, early in the pandemic, right, there was the term used to talk about certain employees that they were essential. I think now that we're a couple of years down the road, we get an idea of what really is essential to individuals, and that certainly is travel and those experiences and those moments that they spend with their family.
Completely agree.
You mentioned the point, and I just want to drive that point home again, is that all of the sales, not only in January of this year, but always in the Avoya network, are made exclusively by those in the Avoya network. There's not employees working directly for Avoya Travel that are selling and taking advantage of our unique specials and cherry picking live leads. So again, when we look at this full circle, pretty impressive, right, Steve?
It's very impressive. So two things I think are impressive. One is the number of support people we have per agency in the network is way higher ratio than any other host or franchise. Two, when I mentioned the success of last year's class and this year's January class so far, it really epitomizes and it makes me very proud because a lot of these departments fall under my purview, is all the effort that's put into helping people, many of whom are new to travel, helping them get their business up and running and do it so successfully and so quickly. And the reason why quick is important, number one, from a confidence point of view, Chris, you and I both sold when we started with Avoya as our own independent agency owners. And I never forget the first day I was on claiming Avoya live leads. I made a booking. It was okay. It was a 2-day cruise. It wasn't a lot of money, but the confidence of making a booking that quickly was huge. And we also know the cash flow implications of starting a new business. It's great if I start my business today and I'm booking cruises for 2025 and I don't get paid until then. So the fact that people are booking so quickly means that cash is coming into their bank accounts that much quicker.
That is a real win-win when you talk about that. And I guess it's safe to say, Steve, I mean, as we certainly ramp up for the rest of 2023, that it's looking like it's going to be a special year, right? I mean, January is just not like a one-trick pony.
No, it's not, because I think yesterday was our second biggest day of the year. So normally wave season kind of goes out to March, maybe even to April. I'm wondering if it's going to end this year, really, because there's so much pent-up demand. People, and so much of people booking multiple trips in a year instead of one trip in a year. I'm hoping it's wave year, not wave season.
The wave tsunami,
Right.
or the sales tsunami. I like it. Based on what you've seen to start the year, any advice that you would offer to those that have been kind of sitting on the fence about either joining our network, the Avoya network, or just getting into the travel business to begin with?
Well, the first thing I would say is I can't think of any other business where you can start a business with such a low basic investment to get started. And I know you'll talk more about the joining aspects of Avoya, but whether it's Avoya or somewhere else, really, I mean, for our agencies, it's a laptop and an internet connection and a small fee to join, and they're instantly in business. It's not like spending thousands of dollars to buy a franchise or opening a storefront and then having to spend money to market to drive consumers to your business. Like I said, my first day on the phones, my phone is ringing, I'm making a booking, I didn't spend any money out of my pocket to drive demand. The demand is there. One thing I always kind of look ironically at, our marketing people are able to generate more leads than we seem to have people that want to claim them sometimes. They're so busy. So looking for some help out there.
Yeah, absolutely. Steve Hirshan, Senior Vice President of Sales for Avoya Travel. Any last thoughts, Steve, on this record-breaking month or anything else going on in your world you want to share?
Well, I think the other nice thing about the travel business is you can do it to augment retirement income, spouse's income or partner's income. You'll get out of it what you put into it, but different people in our network work in different ways. Some are working 24/7, some are working fewer hours and enjoying their life as well. So it's an inexpensive business to start. It's a flexible business to run, and you're selling people a product that they love. Not a bad combination.
That's a pretty good combination. Steve Hirshan, everyone. Steve, thanks again for your time and for jumping on and sharing this amazing news to the start of 2023 in the Avoya Network.
My pleasure, Chris. Thanks, and have a great 2023, everyone. Thank you.
Just amazing. And again, it just highlights how the travel industry continues to innovate and find ways to help more people enjoy this beautiful world we live in. I mean, people are hungry for these special moments that only travel can provide. And I highly encourage you to get started with the process. Reach out to avoyanetwork.com and get started with that process ASAP. Don't miss this special time in the travel industry. All right, from the Avoya Travel Innovation Center in California to one of the most amazing beaches in the world, Grace Bay Beach, home of Beaches, Turks and Caicos, and where our featured Meet the Industry guest is joining us today. As I mentioned earlier, we're both excited and proud of our partnership with Sandals Resorts. So please help me welcome in our featured Meet the Industry guest today for On Deck with Avoya, David Ridge. David is the Regional Director of Sales for the Western Region at Sandals Resort. David, so great to have you join us, and especially from Turks and Caicos.
Thank you so very much for having me, Chris. It's my pleasure to be with you.
Absolutely. David, before we jump into the industry, can you give us a little bit of a background on yourself and how you came to hold your position with Sandals Resorts?
So I'm sure you can tell, Chris, from my accent that I'm Jamaican born. And my Sandals journey started approximately 24 years ago. And it's so funny because I started with Sandals because of the love of the city. So back then in Jamaica, I used to work at an insurance company, back then Crown Eagle Life Insurance Company, and I was in the IT department. So I used to travel to the different parishes, as we have in Jamaica, to visit the different branches and to service their equipment and to do training. And every time I go to Ucherias, I just fall in love with that beautiful city. And so I started back then at Sandals Guns River as a trainee manager, spent approximately 2 years there, then migrated to the United States, where I was in sunny South Florida. I was in Miami, where I worked in a reservation center. And Chris, you know what? While I was there in the reservation center, I get to interact with all of our travel advisors all over the country. And I've always wanted to be out in the field, working alongside them. It's a difference between working behind a phone and being out in the field. So I became a business development manager in Pennsylvania for about 9 years or so, was promoted to a senior business development manager. And then in true Sandals fashion, there are all these opportunities at Sandals. I was promoted after 9 years to a regional director for the Western region, where I relocated to Dallas, Texas, where I oversee 17 states on the western part of the United States and oversee 12 business development managers that works with all the travel advisors on a daily basis to help them to grow their business.
Man, you drew the lucky card this week to get out of Texas, right? Just as this horrible ice storm has set in and kind of shut that state down. And here you are in beautiful Turks and Caicos. And share it with us a little bit, one of the reasons that you're down at the resort this week and how special that is, with what's going on with the Avoya Network.
Absolutely, Chris. Listen, I could not have planned it better. While it's freezing back in Texas, I'm here to what we refer to as the last of the true exotics. It's absolutely an amazing, breathtaking piece of real estate here in Providenciales, in Turks and Caicos. But I'm here, as you mentioned, with about approximately 80 IAs, independent advisors from the Avoya network as a reward for them, recognizing their hard work for 2022. These, ladies and gentlemen, are the best of the best, who have sold over $1 million in 2022. So it's just our way, as part of the partnership, Sandals and Beaches' way of showing our appreciation by rewarding these advisors. And my team and I are here in beautiful Turks and Caicos, rolling out the red carpet to ensure that they have the time of their life. Listen, there is a little business aspect because, of course, one thing with goals are, Chris, is that once you achieve them, you always have to look, how do I exceed those goals? So they're here enjoying themselves, but they're also immersing themselves in the destination, learning how to leverage this brand and this resort so that they can share these experiences with their clients.
David, what makes the resort of Sandals Resorts as a company and a brand stand out in such a crowded field of other all-inclusives that clients could, make a choice for?
It all started with our late chairman, and he always stated that if you exceed the client's expectation and give them more than what they expect, they'll always come back for more. Listen, Chris, the reality is they're beautiful, luxurious resorts all over the world, over the country, right? And one thing about Sandals and Beaches, talking about exceeding expectations, every single day of life, we look to see how can we elevate the brand? How can we add more amenities? We always state that we have more quality inclusions than any other resort on the planet. So it's all about giving the client so much to choose from. Not everything is going to appeal to everyone, but one thing you can guarantee is that they have a wide choice to choose from. Also, what is important is that human element. You see clients that return year after year because of the staff at the resort, and especially here in Turks and Caicos at the Beaches Resort. I tell you, it's so funny sometimes to watch these families check in, and as soon as they're checking in, and especially if they're in a butler suite, the family, the kids will run off with the nannies or with the butlers that they have known for years. We have even had clients who have requested to be with the same butlers. So it's all that family-oriented feel, and they know that once they come to Sandals Beaches Resort, that something special awaits them, because of course, it's all about the dreams and the memories, and that is what Sandals Beaches delivers to the clients when they get here.
I can only speak for me personally, but when I was a travel advisor and I was a Sandals and Beaches expert, when I sold a package to one of your resorts, I just knew that coming back to me was going to be a happy client. And I can't tell you what a breath of fresh air that is as a travel advisor, just to have that reassurance that your clients are going to be well taken care of and that they're going to come back feeling that what you offered them and sold to them was a worthwhile experience for their time and for their money. So, as a travel advisor, I always loved any time I got a chance to sell your beautiful properties. So.
Absolutely. And it helps you too, because once you have that customer, you'll have that customer for life. So you'll focus on getting new clients while we take care of them and have them come back year after year.
When you look at what's going on in 2023 and into the near future, David, anything exciting with the Sandals Resorts that you're excited to share with us today?
Funny you should mention that, Chris. So as luck would have it, as I mentioned in my opening, that my career started at Sandals Dunsriver, right?
Right.
So that iconic resort is now back in the portfolio, because one of the things you'll realize is that like all the resorts are owned by Sandals Beaches Resort, with the exception of one, Beaches Ocherias. And back then, Sandals Dunsriver was not owned by us. It was just managed by us. And funny enough, the company I used to work for, Crown Eagle Life, was taken over by Guardian Life, who actually owned Sandals Dunsriver. So it was out, with the direction that the company was going in, it was a little difficult sometimes for us to make the enhancements to the resort. as you can see throughout the portfolio right now. So it was a little challenging, so we gave it back. But throughout the pandemic, that there is always a silver lining, right? And throughout the pandemic, we're able to regain Sandals River. And I have to tell you, Chris, without a doubt, this is going to be the most iconic resort in Jamaica, bar none. It's going to be very special because our late chairman, this was the last project that he had his thumbprint on. Of course, I don't know if you're aware, but Ocho Rios is where the chairman grew up and where it started in Montego Bay, but he grew up in the fishing villages of Ocho Rios. But this resort, and for those advisors who have been supporting us for the last 41 years, if they know anything about Sandals River, I just ask for them to forget everything they know, because total, complete change. And it's going to be so special where I'm sure you're familiar with the famous and iconic Duns River Falls, where they have that natural aquifer. You'll have the natural mineral waters flowing from Duns River Falls throughout the resorts and the bars and the pools, the restaurants. And talk about the beach. It's a west-facing beach, and it has this barrier reef, the calmest water in the Ocho Rios area. Some of the accommodation, they're adding these rendezvous suites and taking it to the next level, where you will have your outdoor private patio, where clients can have like a private candlelight dinner. And they have the advantage also of stargazing, because they'll have a telescope where they can look out at the stars. So it doesn't get any better than that. But I'm so excited. This resort, Chris, will be opening on May 24th. It's already in the system for sale. And of course, it has a special grand opening. But looking forward to Sandals River, May 24th. And it doesn't stop there. There will be a phase 2 to come, Sandals Royal Duns River, right beside Sandals Duns River. And similar to the concept in Barbados, where you can stay at 1, play at 2, that will be the concept there as well. So excited for that new project on the horizon.
So with 24 years tenure with the Sandals Resort Company, David, do you have a favorite resort, or by company policy, you just have to love them all equally?
Well, I'll tell you, Chris, listen, the heart knows what the heart wants what the heart wants, right? And I have to tell you, where I'm at right now, Beaches, Turks and Caicos, this is actually my favorite resort. But I'll tell you that each of our resorts in the portfolio, they have their own personality, right? And it's so important for our independent advisors to make sure that they're qualifying their clients to find out exactly what they're looking for, right? Because no two resorts are alike. So in terms of the destination, in terms of the resort, to really qualify and define to send them to the right destination or the right resort. For me, I tend to like the larger resort because I don't like to be bored after the first day. So here at Turks and Caicos, of course, with 5 distinct villages. So you can leave the Caribbean up over to Italy, to Paris, to Key West. There's so much to offer here. And so I tend to like the larger resort. One day I could be by the French pool, another day by the Italian pool, another day by the water park, another day by the beach. So I tend to like the larger resort. So I'll say across the board, the larger resorts more appeal to me, but without a doubt, a vacation here more than any other resorts. Turks and Caicos is my favorite. But I tell you, as I've just explained to you, Duns River is my heart. So let's see come May 24th, but definitely there are quite a few favorites I'll have. But whenever I have a conversation with clients or travel advisors, I always have the caveat to say, listen, it is my favorite for these reasons. But when you're positioning it to your clients, make sure that you're giving them what they want based on their preferences.
David, what would be a couple of key pieces of advice? Because I'm sure you get asked all the time, and part of your job is probably to help. But what would be a couple of key pieces of advice to help a new travel advisor to sell more of the Sandals Resort brand?
Okay. Well, first and foremost, I must say, listen, the travel industry is the best industry ever. We get to travel all over the world, experience different culture, different places, the food, the people. But for a new advisor, I would suggest that you try to specialize and not try to do or to sell everything all at once. So you try to specialize and be an expert in that whether niche market. Listen, at Sandals and Beaches Resort, of course, you know, what Sandals is for lovers, for honeymooners, and specialize in honeymoon and destination market. But you know, one thing, Chris, what I've found coming out of the pandemic is that the fact that people were locked down for over 2 years, people just want to travel together. So group travel is on the rise. So it doesn't have to be a destination wedding or any a honeymoon or anniversary or anything like that. It could be a group of any like-minded people. So whatever it is, people just want to travel together as a group and celebrate each other, to spend time with each other. So again, what I would suggest is to specialize in a particular niche and then hone your skills in that, because you'll be able to sell more of that, and then you can branch out. And then also, to your most useful resource is that of your business development manager, right? We have one of the largest global sales field up there with boots on the ground, and the business development managers, they're there to help you to grow your business. So you will work closely with your local business development manager to take your business to the next level. And of course, there is a difference when you sell, say, from a brochure or from the internet or wherever. You have to experience the brand. So whatever opportunity you have, make sure that you're immersing yourself in the product, because a client can tell. A client can tell when you're very authentic and you're selling with passion from the heart, as opposed to reading from the brochure. So once you go, as we say in Jamaica, you know, so you experience a brand and you become an expert and you sell what you know. So definitely, those are a few key points for a new advisor, you know, coming into the industry.
David Ridge, Regional Director of Sales for the Western Region at Sandals Resort, is our featured Meet the Industry guest today for On Deck with Avoya. David, what can someone that's in our network expect from a relationship with Sandals Resorts? And I guess it's probably everything you've said kind of goes into this, but why would selling Sandals Resort help their business overall?
Well, I'll have to tell you that, and it goes back to our late chairman, because he had a love affair with the travel advisors, right? And that will never change. We always say that we're the most profitable resort to sell, with more inclusions than any other resorts on the planet. And when an advisor sells a Sandals and Beaches brand, it's an easy brand to sell. You have the support as well to sell the brand. And not only are you selling the rooms, there are other features that can be sold as well, such as the excursions and tours through island routes, or here at beaches, or sesame character breakfast, spa treatments, candlelight dinners. And the partnership is so strong, and especially with the Avoya network. So you can expect nothing but a great partnership and support when you partner with a brand like Sandals.
David, when you get a chance to get away for a little while, outside of visiting your own properties, do you have a favorite trip memory that kind of resonates to the top that you could share with us?
Oh, absolutely. As I mentioned before, that, you know, traveling is my passion, and not just in the Caribbean. I like to travel all over the world, right? I like to increase my cultural intelligence, you know, visiting other culture, meeting people, experiencing their food. But I had the opportunity of visiting Antarctica in December of 2021, and then 6 months later to the Arctic. You know, they say about Antarctica, only about 1% of the world's population will ever visit that destination. And look at me, a boy from Jamaica, from the Caribbean, all the way in Antarctica. And I tell you, Chris, when I went there, I was so proud. I took my Jamaican flag and I flew it high and proud. But just being there and experiencing that culture, you know, with the penguins, and in the Arctic, of course, in the North Pole, you know, experiencing polar bears, you know, that was, you know, those two, I said really stand out, and you know, it is very, very, very special to me.
Yeah, that sounds like an amazing memory. I can see why it stands out. David, before we wrap up our great interview today, and of course, I very much appreciate your time, any last words from your side that you would like to share with our audience today?
Absolutely. I wanted to first and foremost take the opportunity to thank all the advisors. 2022 was a great year for us, and the travel trade sector was our highest producing sector in 2022, and that is in a large part to the Avoya network. So thank you so much for that. 2023 has gotten off to a great start. Listen, the product is evolving. I spoke about Sandals Resorts, World Resorts, but there's more on the horizon. We have new resorts that are coming out as well. We have Beaches Runaway Bay as well, and even existing resorts. We're enhancing those resorts as well. In St. Lucia, we're adding some of those rendezvous suites. At Beaches in the Grill, we're adding 3 and 4 bedroom suites. We have a great promotion right now, our Winter Blues special, where not only will your clients have the benefit of additional amenities, but you, the travel advisors, will have extra bonus commission as well. This promotion goes on to the end of February 28th. So make sure everyone is taking advantage of our Winter special.
Fantastic. David, I always wrap up my show with basically the same question. And I think it offers a unique perspective to our viewers to hear from you as you represent one of the biggest brands in the travel industry, Sandals Resorts. But when you look forward, are you excited about the future of leisure travel?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm so excited, Chris, I can't hide it. And I'm about to lose control. But as I just alluded to, the growth of this organization is moving at a pace that sometimes my head spins, to be honest with you. But over the next 5 to 6 years, we will be opening a new resort every 12 to 13 months. I mentioned the ones on the immediate horizon. We're venturing into new destination and opening new resorts. And as I said, listen, people are looking for memories. They're looking for that dream. And arising out of the pandemic, this pent-up demand, I have never seen, like in 2022, where the resorts were just running at full occupancy. So much so, that's how we're moving at the pace we're moving at. And as I said, 2023 has started out on a great footing. The partnership, I have to say something about the partnership again, Chris. I mean, the partnership we have with the Avoya network is second to none. This is a people business, a relationship building business. And I have to tell you, I'm gonna call out a few names now, but Mickey McBride, oh my God, absolutely amazing. And the fact that he's on Pacific time and I'm on Central time, any time of day, doesn't matter where I was. As a matter of fact, when I was in Antarctica, I was there communicating with him, but without a doubt. And I mean, it goes, all the way up from like Michelle, Ashley, all the way up to Jeff and Michael. I mean, the partnership is second to none. And just like the partnership, just like a marriage, when you have two souls moving the same direction, the common goal, then there's nothing that you can't achieve. So we're so excited for the Avoya network. We're so excited for the travel industry. And I just can't wait to see what unfolds for the remainder of this year and into the future.
Incredibly well said, David. David Ridge, everyone, Regional Director of Sales for the Western Region at Sandals Resort. David, thank you again for your time and enjoy the rest of your time with our friends from the Avoya network that are hanging out there at Beaches, Turks and Caicos.
Thank you so very much, Chris. It was my pleasure to be with you.
Next week, we're excited because we're going to actually feature one of our affiliates that's currently there at Beaches, Turks and Caicos on that best of the best reward trip. Jason Dutton-Smith, owner of Map the World LLC, an independent affiliate in the Avoya network, is going to join us for a Meet the Network segment next Thursday. We look forward to finding out how this special trip was, get some tips and tricks for success, and find out how Jason excels as a business owner in the Avoya network. A little tip for you. Jason just joined Avoya last May, and in the first 6.5, 7 months that he was in the network, hit that $1 million in gross sales. So a pretty exciting story to tell, and we can't wait to feature Jason and his fantastic agency next Thursday here at On Deck with Avoya. There is so many exciting things going on right now, and extended through February is our promotion for high-end agents. Again, we say it every week. I'll say it again. looking for agents that did over $100,000 in gross sales in 2022 in key leisure products, cruise, river cruise, tour, all-inclusive, beaches, sandals, that kind of leisure travel where people are going on vacation. If you did over 100,000, then we're in a position where we could waive the fee for you. Just get qualified through an affiliation specialist. It's an amazing deal to join the #1 host agency in leisure travel and be part of the company that just posted its #1 record sales month in all of its history. I mean, it's pretty amazing. So again, reach out. That's going on through February. We still have going on our military promo. We love our friends, our veterans, those in the military, their spouses, because we know they serve right along with them. We still have $100 off the affiliation fee with our veterans discount. Again, somebody on my team is more than happy to work with you, get you qualified for that promotion. So again, avoyanetwork.com is your first stop in order to reach out for that. Circling back on, for those that are new to the travel industry, and if you're hearing about all these sales and you're hearing the exciting things that David Rich had to talk about from the Sandals brand, and you're like, man, my heart just gets excited for something like that. I want to be part of it. You can. And we have the best value for getting into the industry you're going to find. The travel agent education powered by Avoya, dynamic, comprehensive curriculum. It's only about 40 hours of online self-paced lessons. So you really can, if you're focused, you can get through this. It's the travel agency proficiency test exam that's covered. And you get free memberships in CLIA, the Cruise Line International Association, and ASTA, the American Society of Travel Advisors. And if you complete the program in the first 60 days that you're signed up, and then you affiliate with Avoya Travel, we're able to take $100 off that affiliation fee as well. So don't wait, get started, get part of it, become part of this industry. 2023, it's so exciting, and we just can't wait to hear from you and help share our story about why now is the moment. Now is go time, people, I'm telling you. So please reach out with that information. We have the resources, whether you're experienced, whether you're new to the industry, whether you're a little bit experienced, but you'd like to be a lot more experienced and really take your sales to somewhere else. Live leads, amazing marketing assets. The support that is provided by Carrie Fredericks and her team. Again, I'll just do a little call out for Carrie. Just truly amazing, wonderful people. They care, they want to help. If you want to help you, they want to help you too. Easy to use technology. The development, professional development, we love featuring our friends that are providing the sales coaching and the business coaching. It takes everything we do just to another level. So reach out and get that conversation started today, no matter where you are in the travel industry. And if you're following us and you're giving us a little, love by watching our show On Deck with Avoya, make sure you subscribe and you like and you ring the bell and all of those cool things. We're on all of the main social media platforms. We always have some great content on there, and you're never going to miss a beat if you follow us, like on our LinkedIn page or Facebook or YouTube, any of those cool places. So please do that. And then reaching out, avoyanetwork.com is still the best place to do that. Or you can just reach out to me personally, chris.green@avoyatravel.com. Give us a call, follow us. Let's get in touch. February is going to be just as amazing as January. I just got a feeling. I mean, you heard Steve say second best day of the year to kick off February of 2023. Be part of the magic. Big thanks again to Steve Hirshan, who joined us with our record-breaking sales numbers. To David Ridge from the Sandals Resort Company. Thank you, David, so much for your time. Annabella did a wonderful job producing our segment from our trade marketing team. Thank you for being part of it. We'll see you next week. Until then, take care, everyone.